Hello dear friends, welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to fetch data using jQuery Ajax and also update those data inside a div. So we choose a specific div to fetch data and update it and put it inside that div. So it won't affect any other element on the page, only update that div. So in this example, this is my elements, but only element which updates is these categories. If I refresh, you can see it's really fast. And let me see where it comes from. It comes from this database table. And if I want to change something, for example, I want to change this all to something like nothing, and it automatically will be updated here. And there you go, it's updated without reloading the page. So it's very useful if you want to make a page which updates its items without reloading the page. And that's it. But I'm gonna teach you 3 ways to do this: by using load, by using get, and by using post method. So let's get started and see how I made it. First of all, I'm going to create a project folder. I call it PHP jQuery Ajax update div, and I drag and drop my folder inside Visual Studio Code. The first thing I need to do is to create a page called index.html. Sorry, this is a PHP. So index.php. Let's make the font a little bit bigger. It's good, it's big. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is to make the basic HTML5 structure. I call it update div using jQuery Ajax. Okay, first I'm gonna use some library. I want to use Bootstrap 5 library. To use that, just Google the Bootstrap CDN, and I also need the jQuery CDN. I copy the Bootstrap main CSS and I paste it here. I also need the Bootstrap bundle main.js, paste it. And the other thing I need is the jQuery CDN. I use a minified, so just copy and paste it here. So you have successfully add the jQuery and Bootstrap inside our page. Now I'm going to create the structure of the page. So inside the body, first of all, I make a container, a div with a class of container. Inside this div, I make another div with a class of row, and I make another div with a class of column. And inside this column, I type I put a h3 and I say welcome, and I close my tag. Maybe I change it to cool, another class of welcome area, and I make another div with a class of cool 12, and I also add another class category area. And inside this div, I'm going to make another div with a class of category title, and I say categories. And after this div, I make another div with the ID of category list, and this is the div I want to update it using jQuery Ajax. So for now I put loading, and I also make another div with a class of column, and inside this one I make a div with a class of copyright text, and I say copyright by, okay, a random text. Okay, I just, because I want to show you it won't affect any other element. It only affect the div we select. Okay, this is my page. This is how my page looks right now. Okay, I have the welcome message, the category of title, the loading bar, and the footer. I only want to update this loading bar, nothing else. Okay, let's also give another class to this one. I call it copyright, and maybe we also add some style to the page, so make it a little bit more beautiful so you guys can understand it better. I make a style tag and I close my style tag, style, and inside this one, first of all, I select my body and I want to change the color of the body. I use a kind of black color, E8 F4FF, and I want to change the background color also. Background color, and this one is 212020. And then I want to select the category area, cat area, this side. Okay, this category area, and for the category area I give it a margin at the top, margin at the top, and I give it 10 pixel margin, and I also give it a padding of 20 pixel, and let's also give it a border 1 pixel, solid 88B2E8. I noted the color codes. Okay, border radius, and I give it a 7 pixel border radius. Let's see how my page looks, and it looks better, but we need to give some style to the footer and copyright also. So I select my copyright and I give it a margin of 10 pixel, and also I want to select the welcome area, this welcome area, and for this one I want to give it a margin at the top 10 pixel, and at the end I'm going to select this category title. Let's give it a margin at the bottom 10 pixel, and I change this font width to 600 to make it a little bit bold. You see how it looks now? It looks really nice, but it doesn't update anything. So now it's time to create our PHP file. So we have successfully created our index page, but now first of all I want to fetch data from database. Okay, I want to fetch data from this database. I have to make a connection, so I make a file called db.php. okay, this is my connection page. I have talked a lot about how connection works, so I don't miss your time here. I just make a class of connect and extend that one to PDU. Then I make a construct for this function. Then I use my database type, which is MySQL, my host name, my database name, which is MSP, my username, and my password, the database password. Okay, and just like that I have created a DB connection and save this one. And because we want to fetch data from another page, so I make a page, I call it update.php. This is where we fetch data and then use it to update this category list. So what is inside this update.php? As you remember, we have created a database connection, so we have to use it now. Because we created this connect class, we can use that one here. So how you can use that? First of all, we have to require this page, so I want to require it once, db.php. I have required that page, and from this page I want to use this connect class. So I make a variable db and store it inside this db variable. I use new and the class name, which is connect, this class name. Okay, and now we have successfully made a connection, a database connection. Let's see, let's check that page, update.php. there's no error and it's running smoothly. Okay, now it's time to fetch data. So how we can fetch data and make a variable, I call it categories, and this is equal to, I use this database connection, and from this database connection I want to prepare, and here you're going to use your SQL. So I say select everything from the table name. What's my table name? My table name is block category. You can use any table you want. Okay, and now we have to execute this SQL query. So I use my, because we have stored this one inside this variable, so I can use it now. So I want to execute it. Execute. Once we have executed, we have to count the rows. So the number of categories, and this is equal to, from this category, I want to do what? Because we have already executed that one, now we can use these functions. I want to use a function called row count. It will count how many rows in the table, and then we check if a number of our categories is greater than 0. It means if there is something in the table or not. If there is something on the table, what we want to do, we want to fetch it. So how you can fetch it? I say I use this categories, and from this category I want to fetch. I use fetch function. I want to fetch, and because my table is PDU, my database is TBU, I use PDU, and I say PDU fetch sock, this one, and it will fetch the data for us. But because I want to fetch everything, we have to use a while. So I put everything inside a while loop and set all of them to a variable. I make a new variable, I call it category, and this is equal to this, and it will fetch everything from that table. Now I only want to get the category name, so I make a variable, I call it category name, and this is equal to, now we can use this variable, the category variable, and from this one I use the table name, which is category name. So category name, you can use any which you want. And once I have done that, I want to echo that one. I want to echo what? This category name. And I also want to attach a BR to make an enter, and also a line for this one. So that it will add a break and a line to every element. Okay. But you also want to check if there is nothing on the database, else what I want to do, I want to echo no result found. Is right, and I save it. Remember, we didn't echo this one to JSON, we have echo this one to HTML. If you echo JSON on the Ajax, you have to use JSON format, but we just echo simple HTML. And if we refresh the page, now you get everything in an HTML type. Okay, but this is not where we want these elements. We want those elements to be loaded in here. So it's time to create another file. I call it fetch.js, and I have to include this one to my index. So come to your index page, and here I use script source, which is fetch.js. Okay, it's okay, and save it here. And because we have used jQuery, now we can use jQuery functions here. So I want to use the function called document ready. It means whenever the page is loaded, what I want to do, I want to run a function, and this function do what? First I want to use an alert to see if it works or not. Okay, it's a test. Let's refresh, and there you go, it works. Okay, I want to remove this alert, and I don't want to do anything at the moment. So as I told you, I want to show you 3 ways. The first way is using load. Okay, how we can fetch those data and put it inside this div element. You can put it inside any div element you want, but I want to put it inside this div element, the category list. So how you can do this? By using load. I make a function, I call it load update. It means it's update by using load, and it is really easy. First of all, we have to select the element we want to update. This one, it has an ID of category list, so I select it by using Ajax jQuery because it has an ID, so I select it by ID, and then you just simply say load, and then the page name. Update this element from which page name. I want to update, I want to put everything from update.php to this one. Just type update.php. If you want to update, only get a specific thing from here, you can echo something like, for example, make a div with a class of whatever, container, wrapper, or everything you like, and you just type, you add the ID or the class name of, for example, it has an ID of, for example, table. It only get that specific thing from this page, nothing else, okay? And update only that element to, and replace this element to that element, but we want everything from update.php, so we won't put anything here. And that's really easy, right? Just and all we're gonna do is to copy this function and put it inside the load. And if I refresh, it gets everything, but it not update automatically, okay? It only run once and that's it. So we can do it to update itself every 1 or 2 seconds. We use a function called set interval, and inside, and I want to use, for example, 2 seconds, and inside this one you again put your function. So every 2 seconds it will update the elements. If you go to network, as you can see, every 2 seconds it updates, and a new file comes, it updates the page, okay? That is by using load method. Now let me remove these functions from here. Now there's another way, by using get method. We can update data by using get method. It's also really easy. So I make a function and I say, I give it the name of get update, and then here I use Ajax. Inside this Ajax, first I have to specify the type of method. Which method we want to use? We use get. You put a comma, and now I want to tell from where, the URL, okay? The URL, which is update.php, and then this is very important, this is the data type. As I told you, if you echo this one as JSON, you have to use JSON format here, but it is a simple HTML file, so we just type HTML. And the other thing is, whenever it is done, the success, and success is a function, and this function have an element called data. This is the data which comes from this update.php, so you have it here. Now we want to update this category list. How you can do that? Just select it like before and use HTML and put data inside, so it will update its HTML elements to this data. Now I copy the function name, I put it here inside the interval also. Now if I refresh, there you go. Ajax, the same, just like before, but this time we use a get method. There's one more method which is really the best one, I liked it the most, which is post method. So how it works, I make a function, I call it post update. You not only get data, but you can also send data by using this method. So just like before, we use Ajax. We use Ajax, and inside this Ajax, I set type. The type is post this time. The type is post. The URL is update.php, and now we have to specify. And now we can also send the data, or we can also send something to that update.php. So we can say data For example, I want to send this variable called lock. Inside this one I put 1 2 3, and there's a success, and success is a function that has a parameter of data, and whenever we got the data, just like before, we want to update the category list to this data. But if you got an error, we use a function, and this function have 3 parameters: xhr, status, and error. If there is any error, I want to console error, that error, maybe the xhr. Okay, let's copy this function name and put it inside here, inside interval. You have to put it inside both. Okay, let's refresh, and there you go, you have the same thing. But now we have one more functionality. Because we send the data called lock, we can use this one inside our update.php. How you can use it inside update.php? So let me show you how you can use it here. For example, after the category name, I want to print that data, which comes by using post method. So I use post and the name of that element, which is lock. I just want to print this lock. Let's see if it works. Here you go. I didn't refresh page, but it already came 1 2 3. The lock appear here. It's let's use it a little bit useful. If you go to update.php, it load this data, but you want to only load it from this page. It won't show that here, so we can use the lock. Okay, how you can do that? After the connection, I use fset if the lock is set, and also this post lock is equal to 1 2 3. Only this time run this code and put everything inside it. Okay, if the lock is not set or it's not equal to 1 2 3, it will not show anything. So if I refresh here, it won't show anything, but if I go to my index.php, it show everything. If I going to update something, for example this nothing to all, I change it here, it automatically will be update here also. As you saw, it automatically update that, but it won't affect any other element on the page. So this was all, guys, for using PHP to update the dev. I hope you guys learned something from this tutorial. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comment, and if you like this video, make sure to press the like button, the bell icon, and for sure subscribe the channel. Have a great time, my friends.